consider how much things have changed in the last few decades.
This is a message to all Canadians that we live in a time where discrimination in any form is completely unacceptable.
I know the trouble that I had in school.
Now go back to 1972 when the CBC interviewed the first Canadian to undergo gender reassignment surgery.
To get back to your original question, why did I want to become a woman? Basically, I've always been a woman.
The conversation about transsexuality included some fairly clinical explanations involving genitalia and sexual preference. It was deemed so controversial that the CBC never aired it. Today, the government says all Canadians should feel protected, free to be themselves, including this 10-year-old transgendered girl.
That we can live a more accepting, a more joyful life in the future.
Here's what's being proposed, including gender identity and gender expression in the Canadian Human Rights Act, meaning, for instance, you can't be fired, refused an apartment, or service at a restaurant for being transgender. Also, changes to the criminal code, adding hate crime sentencing when someone is targeted for their gender identity or gender expression. Hate speech laws would also be updated.
C-279.
This has been tried before, most recently by a member of the NDP.
It is about equal human rights for all Canadians.
But the Senate wanted changes, and none of it ever became law. So what will happen this time? Today, the Justice Minister repeatedly refused to say whether Liberal MPs would be obligated to support the plan, a whipped vote.
Should it not be a whipped vote if it's about rights?
Again, this day is about celebrating the transgender community.
Though it may be that more MPs are ready to vote in favor this time. A few, including RONA AMBROSE, have changed their stance.
As the leader, I'm supporting it, and my caucus will be free to make their decisions on that.
The bigger question is the Senate, lately a more potentially unpredictable place. But past opponents remain.
My views on the issues have not changed. They probably will not change.
The Liberals haven't offered up a timeline for this plan, though the Prime Minister clearly expects that it's going to become law. He was asked today about the Senate and said he believes that senators will respect what an open country Canada has become.